You clicked on this video because you want to do better on exams. I'm a student just like you, but what if I told you I found a really simple way to guarantee a better grade? In 4 easy steps, I'm going to show you how to figure out what to do and how to start right now. At the time I'm recording this, I'm also studying for a chemistry test, and I'm going to use this very strategy to show you it actually works. And I'll reveal what I score at the end of the video. Let's not waste any more time. Step 1. Mindset shift. The fact that you're watching this video right now means that you think you can do better than you're doing right now. And you are absolutely right. 99% of the time, it's our own brains keeping us from making progress and doing the hard things. Half the people watching this video are just procrastinating because they're too afraid to go out there and actually do the work. But it is not your fault. Sadness, boredom, anxiety, frustration, these emotions are the most common when people study. So understand this.
Sadness comes from a perceived lack of options. It's why it feels like hopelessness. You don't know what to do. Anxiety comes from many options, but no priorities. And you solve that by making a decision. And you solve sadness by figuring out what to do, which means that it's something that you can solve through knowledge.
Now, whether you agree with that, there is some truth in there. If you have too many things to do, you are anxious. If you don't know what to do, it can be sad or frustrating. And so by finding out what to do and where to start, these impossible situations suddenly become a lot more understandable. And that's why I've given you these next 3 steps so that you can do exactly that. Now that you understand that, it's time for step 2. Synthesize information. If you have an exam, you will need to know stuff. The problem is, you don't know stuff and you have no idea where to start. And one of the worst feelings is taking a test, running into a question so unfamiliar that you start to doubt whether or not you even learned it in class. And so a great way to start preparing for an exam and memorizing it on the way is to gather all the important topics and lessons so that you know what to study for. And some very simple tricks for this is quickly looking through your homework, checking lessons that your teacher posted online or notes that you've written in class. And once you've gathered all this information, break it down into multiple chunks so that you have an organized way of remembering what needs to be done. Now, this is going to help you memorize the information a little bit, but more importantly, it's going to tell you exactly what you need to know for the test. Now, for this step, it usually takes between 30 minutes to an hour to kind of gather out all the information. Unless you're doing a presentation or building a product, then you have to write the script and plan out how to build the thing. That might take a little longer. But for the most part, 30 minutes to an hour. If it's taking longer, you might be doing something wrong. Once you've got something that looks like this, you can move on. By the way, I'm serious about helping you guys out, but sometimes it's difficult to predict the excuses that some people might make or understand the problems that people are struggling with. And so for anyone who really did want to have a one-on-one conversation with me, I'm opening up my email so that you can book a meeting with me, and then I can give you some personal advice, and you can also help me understand what my viewers are kind of going through. Now it's time for step number 3, case studies. Once you know all the big topics you need to study for, it is time to review. 99% of the time, I really do think it comes down to doing the homework. Why would teachers give you homework if it wasn't anything close to the test questions that you see, right? And obviously, there is a smart and efficient way of doing this, and there is a stupid and not effective way of doing this. And for anyone who is thinking, oh, this is such generic advice, or I've done this before, it doesn't work, you probably just haven't done it the right way. Which is why I'm here. Allow me to explain. The organizer you made earlier is meant for this exact reason. Do a few of the hardest questions in each chunk of your organizer to evenly spread out the review and cover everything as much as you possibly can. Check your answers, correct the questions you get wrong. Now, here's what makes this advice different from what most people do. At least I hope so. Otherwise, I'd just be like everyone else. But if you don't understand something, I want you to correct it and then go write a case study. So here's what a case study would kind of look like. It can be as simple as just writing the question on the top, and then your sub questions like part A, part B, part C, whatever. You'll see it depends on what type of question or what kind of subject you're doing, but for like the more mathy ones, in my case chemistry, I just did a bunch of calculations, pretty simple stuff. If I look at it, I'll probably most likely understand it. Some notes here and there just to help me understand it a little bit more, but for the most part, it's really simple. You kind of just show a solution to a specific type of problem. Now, this step is probably the longest out of them, and it really depends on what kind of grade you want to get, right? If you're in the 80s, you want to get bumped up to the low 90s, it might just take 1 or 2 hours. If you want to get perfect, 95 plus or anything like that, it might take around, 2, 3, even 4 hours. For me, it usually takes around 2 to 3, and I usually get around 95 plus, right? That's kind of my range anyways. But again, you can break it up into multiple days. You can give yourself breaks in between. Just make sure you're doing the most you can and you're not cheating yourself, right? With that being said, that brings me to the last step, and arguably my favorite one because it is the one that requires the least effort and the easiest one, I think. I don't know. We'll see. Step 4. Reinforcement. All the work you have just done is useless if you can't remember it the next day. Although you should, because if you were actually working hard, you would have kind of memorized the information, but I digress. After you finish your case studies, do whatever you want, take a little break. But what I usually do is the night before the test, I will go back to my organizer and I will cover the page and read out loud the main topics that I was studying before. And that looks something like this. Qualitative analysis, moles, solution stoichiometry, acids and bases, titration, limiting reactants. Fuck. What's the other one? What was it? Chill. Saturation, solubility, factors of solubility, dissolving rate, factors of dissolving rate, Then I would get more specific and describe the type of question I usually see for each topic and kind of talk to myself or explain to myself the solution. Now, you don't have to do this extra step. I just do it because it helps me a lot and it does not take that much effort from me, and it only takes about 10 to 15 minutes of my time. But yeah, try this out because it really helps me. That's kind of it. Here's what that would look like. This amount of dark spots in the solubility chart, and just do that. Solution stoichiometry, you're gonna go keep the concentration in 2 volumes, and then you just do mole ratio and then find a limiting reactant. Alright, so now it is the end of the video, and I told you guys I would show you what I got for the test, and you already know your boy got 100. I was actually kind of nervous because if I was going to show this test, I better get a good mark. Otherwise, I'd be kind of sad. And I wrote please. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys how I usually study for tests.